Many studies conducted during the pandemic have revealed so far that regular gamblers who are particularly prone to gambling are now resorting to it more often online during lockdown compared to previously reported gambling habits. Now, in such a time, when obviously because of lockdown, a lot of our time spent online, and that also for many people would include online gaming, online betting, online gambling. At such a time, the state of Tamil Nadu brought in a law banning such games. The gaming portals were obviously not very happy with the ban that was imposed, so they moved to the Madras High Court, and the court has now given its order. Madras High Court was actually hearing a plea challenging the validity of this ban, where the petitioners claimed that we are running legitimate businesses here across the country. In most parts, it is legitimate. Why should it be any exception for Tamil Nadu? They even argued that when it comes to games like Rummy is a game of skill, not really a game of chances. And that online Rummy cannot be banned. The state, on the other hand, that was arguing to make its case on why the ban is required, went on to say that teenagers have lost their earnings, their savings, their family money. They've been addicted, and it is damaging them to a great extent, these kind of online games which are available. The state also said it might be a game of skill, but when played for stakes, it is gambling. So the Madras High Court finally gave its decision and said that the blanket ban violates the right to carry on any occupation, trade or business. And that legislation, this specific law that was brought in by the government, imposes a ban which is excessive and disproportionate. Often state seeks to legalize and regulate private life, which obviously is problematic, and that the wording of this act, the High Court said, the wording of this act is crass and overbearing. And so once again, in the limelight is this whole debate about online gaming, gaming with stakes involved. Is that online gambling? Is that all right? Is there a problem? Do we need regulation? Should there be a complete ban? Do we have regulation in our country for it? And is there more which is required? I say good evening to Arjun Agarwal, CEO at Mobius Development Studio Private Limited, Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate with the Supreme Court, Dr. Devendra Save, psychiatrist, and Saravanan, spokesperson for the DMK, joining me right now. Saravanan, let's start off with you. What is your government's now view on what has happened? Are you going to come out with now some kind of regulation since the court has struck down the ban?
Tanvi, the Regulation Act, which was passed in the amendment or whatever which was passed in November 2020, banning all online games, was brought in by the previous ADMK regime, and it was challenged by all the other stakeholders. And the Madras High Court has said that this cannot be countenanced. You cannot have a blanket ban, but the legislation, what they have assailed, is not having any intelligent basis for classification. So on that score, we are striking it down. The court has given us the permission. Yes, we understand how this gaming skill, the online games, everything is addicting youngsters. It is ruining lives. But we want a better legislation. And the Chief Minister of the state, Mr. M.K. Stalin, has responded that we will bring in appropriate legislation to ensure that people do not get addicted to gambling. See, especially during the pandemic, we have seen how we thought we'd be giving our children phones, mobile phones, when they reach high school or college. But now, even a 5th standard student or a 4th standard student has access to a mobile phone, courtesy online classes. So it has become an inevitable bane. So there has to be restrictions. And when parents go to work, they will not be able to monitor the child with a phone. So that is the reason why all these regulations were brought in. Definitely it is an evil. There's no doubt about that. But the court has found fault with the way the legislation has addressed this issue. So there we will correct it, and we will come up with a better legislation which ensures that the children teenagers and other susceptible people will not fall prey to this online gambling, online betting, whatever.
Okay, so let me then bring in our other panelists also on this. And I want to actually start off with Dr. Devendra Save, because Dr. Save, when we begin to look at designing legislation, we also have to look at what are the cons, what's the downside. And in this case, it is the vulnerable younger population. What kind of impact are we seeing on the youngsters right now?
See, first, I would like to say that this is a combination addiction. Gaming is also addiction and gambling is another addiction. So this is one of the rare two double addictions coming together in somebody's mind. Now, the level of these two addictions are comparatively much more. The number of people who are likely to get addicted to these things are comparatively much more, because they are going to get a sense of winning something, doing something skillfully, as you rightly said, Rummy is a skill game. And at the same time, getting an incentive of earning some money off it and having a peer group along with amongst which they are going to feel that they have achieved something. So the brain, especially the pleasure circuit of it, where the addiction goes and hits, and then after that you're compelled to go back and do that addiction again and again, even if you see the disaster happening, it's going to be stimulated by this sort of a double whammy on that person. Now, definitely, this is something which is causing a very big social, occupational, family issues in all respects. I've had patients who are compulsive gamblers who have ruined their family multiple times over, have taken efforts to come out of it, but have gone back because of the easy accessibility to gambling, which is happening with this particular type of gambling. This is also very important to note that maybe for somebody who has to walk to a place to gamble, whereas removing his phone from his pocket and just gambling, it's a very, very easy accessibility to gamble. Yes. And all these things together are ruining. See, it's like this, that the brain is going to get addicted to addictive substance. Gambling is also a kind of addictive substance. Gaming is also a kind of addictive substance. The more you get the exposure to it, you're likely to get addicted. So if you don't taste alcohol, you're not likely to get addicted to it, even if your brain is prone to it. Similarly, this particular now newer age of online gambling is giving access to a large majority of people getting access to it, and the percentage of people getting addicted is going to be high, and like any other gambling, they're going to ruin their lives.
So what would you suggest? Are you suggesting a complete ban as the only way out?
See, if you ask me, I think the legislatures have to take in account the medical aspect of a particular disorder also.
Okay.
I would rather say that rather than banning or being blanking it out, in over centuries, people have found a way around it. You ban it in Mumbai, they'll find a way of doing something. They'll give you a proxy, whatever, VPN, and ask you to gamble through it.
Right. Yeah, actually, okay. So let me pick up on that point. Yeah, and take it across to Sanjay Hegde. Sanjay, there's also the aspect of the medium we're talking about. It's online, it's digital, and there is only so much you can do in terms of banning it any which way. So should we even attempt to with some kind of a framework?
Well, the High Court has basically gone on a question of power. It says that since the medium is digital, since it is a subject which falls within the union list, any banning or regulation would not naturally fall within the realm of the union parliament and not that of the state legislature. So it has even said that, if parliament were to pass a model law, which then the states could adopt, then possibly that would be legally valid. Currently, the law as it stands, the High Court says, has been framed in overbroad terms. It lacks legislative competence. That is, the state legislature does not have the power, Parliament does, and that it is overbroad in as much as it attempts to control even games of skill. It says that rummy and poker are games of skill, which stand outside the realm of betting and gambling. These are the legal arguments, broadly stated, which have found favor with the High Court. You have posed another question, and that's following on the doctor's predictions, that even if we were to manage a complete ban within India, there is no doubt that people could circumvent the ban by playing on sites which are abroad, and they can get over currency restrictions by using blockchain, Bitcoin, and other such cryptocurrencies. So, the gambling instinct is inherent in a lot of humans. We like to speculate on the future. We like to even bet on what will happen. Most of what happens in the stock market, if you buy futures, if you sell futures, is essentially a bet dependent on a contingent future. Now, just because it is expressed in terms of a game of skill, should you necessarily ban it? Yes. What the doctor is speaking of is addiction. What the doctor is speaking of is also of families being ruined. You may be able to regulate it. You may be able to say that an individual cannot be on a site for more than a certain number of hours a day, or that no site can possibly have bets worth beyond a certain amount of money in it. Those kind of regulations, I suppose, could be upheld. But complete bans and saying that you can't have it at all in cyberspace in Tamil Nadu, sorry, that concept doesn't exist and is impractical, cannot be done at all.
Mr. Hegde, you gave the example of stock market. Some may say that's also a game of skill. Others would say it's simply a game of chance. Basis which way your prediction goes for the day, it could be skill or chance.
So let's put it this way. And this is from the High Court judgment itself.
Right.
In a game of skill, a skilled player over a period of time is much more likely to win. So in the stock market, somebody who knows the market over a period of time is much more likely to take away money, a profit from the market, and much less likely to incur a loss. And it's the other way around for somebody who's not so skilled. So that is exactly what skill in these circumstances means.
Oh yes, absolutely. I think the same goes for whether this argument was made for rummy. It could also this argument is also often made for poker.
It was made for rummy and poker.
Yes,
it was made for rummy and poker, and the Law Commission recognized that poker is indeed a game of skill.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a game of skill if you have the skill. Otherwise, you can keep hoping for a good round of, or keep hoping for chance and get some good cards. So that's where it gets divided. But yes, the distinction is at the heart of the entire argument. Now, what is the legal position of gambling in our country right now? So, horse racing and lotteries are legal in India. That in sense is also some amount of skill, not just all gambling. It's legal in our country. Several Indian states have legalized lotteries: Goa, Kerala, Arunachal, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, many of the northeastern states, Bengal as well. Online gambling and land-based casinos are legalized in some of the states, Goa, and then some northeastern states as well. Daman also allows it. Maharashtra has prohibited gambling and considers gambling as illegal under the Bombay Prevention of Gambling Act. E-gaming has been legalized in Sikkim and Nagaland. But Telangana and Arunachal consider game of skills as illegal as per the Telangana State Gaming Act. So there's quite a bit of confusion here, Arjun, in our country itself as to what's allowed in which part of the country. Do we need a comprehensive set of regulations?
Hello. Yes, we do need a comprehensive set of regulations there. I would like to draw parallels from the two industries that the respected advocate mentioned there. I would give two examples. Precisely here. When the first assembly line, that was built by Ford in 1913, it almost took 36 years, for the first 40,000 cars to put a seat belt as a safety measure, in the car, right? That is the first example I would like to give here. And the second example, the advocate mentioned here was the financial stock trading is no less than a gambling activity if done without knowledge, and experience in the field. After years of research, industry experts, right, have come up with the concept of a stop loss, which helps in mitigating risks for the one who's trading on stocks, right? And not to say, the government has regulated, the stock broking, and the trading, industry by, SEBI, right? Because the governments have realized the potential that this holds in terms of value creation, in the society, be it jobs, wealth, taxes, and right. And, since, political, a member from the political analyst is also in the panel, I would like to, add something here that, whenever, we are in a tumble, as a society, as a nation, right? We should always look at our rich past and turn to technology in terms of generating solutions with the technological leaders that the India possesses today. So coming to the rich past that India has, I would like to translate some of the verses from 935 to 939 of Katyayani Smriti. If gambling cannot be stopped kingdom, it should be regulated. This is what it says. Gambling should be allowed to be carried on openly in the gambling hall. The gambling hall should be provided with an ornamental arch, right? And gambling could be carried on openly after payment of tax to the king. Chanakya suggested that severe penalty for violation of gambling regulations, as he considered all gamblers to be cheaters, right? So we have to look at our rich past, when it comes to, when we as a society, tumble on, what is right and what is wrong, right? And governments can always look up to, the upcoming technologies, right? Like the example that I gave, in the car technology, right? The first seatbelt that came was after 36 years of the first assembly line that, the Henry Ford manufactured, right? So it almost took 36 years. Now the technology.
But so let me ask you this: since you're making Arjun, since you're making the technology argument and saying that we need to use technology, tell me a tech-oriented way of regulating this. I mean, Sanjay Hegde was making some suggestions. You can make put a limit to how much a person is online. Will that help? If an addict really wants to, they may end up creating multiple IDs. They may, end up trading or betting, gambling via multiple IDs. Give me a tech-oriented solution as to how we can deal with the addiction problem, especially for youngsters.
So absolutely, so we have something called as a holistic responsible gaming, right? Which which draws parallels to the stop loss in the financial industry, right? If you were, let's say, stocking, a trade, right, in the stock market without a stop loss, you would be very irrational, right? Now here itself, let's say you are gambling a certain amount of money on the online platform, right? We would verify, your scores, civil scores, right? And, what is your potential to gamble? Right, if someone right has a capacity to gamble, for a good some amount of money, right? Then why not, right? Let him gamble. But so the agenda here is that we don't want him to bite more than he can chew, right? Let's say auto rickshaw fellow who is earning not more than 10,000, he also needs entertainment in his life. Now we wouldn't ask him to gamble for 50,000 rupees, right? 1,000-2,000 of entertainment, done well, right? But right there, a rich kid, of an industry owner, right?
Okay.
Who here is there to gamble for 1 lakh. Why not, right? But we have to have right checks and balances, when it comes to responsible gaming, wherein we already have outsmarted financial institutions like CIBIL, which monitor your financial activity time to time, right? And these activities, when entangled with the gambling, police can put right checks and balances on how much to gamble, who to gamble, and you can have a centralized database. All the all the operators can have a centralized database. Wherein, they can.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Got the point and the reference you made. For example, using CIBIL scores. Mr. Hegde, are there specific models that exist that we can refer to legally that Saravanan and his government can look into as they go about defining another set of regulations?
Absolutely.
Well, I don't think
Yeah,
any
the
state
question
government,
to Sanjay Hegde, please. Yes.
no, especially after this judgment,
Yeah.
which has laid down in no uncertain terms that states can't really do too much about games of skill. It would be much better if the states all got together and asked the center to pass a model legislation, which then the states could adopt. Because unless it is seen as the center which is exercising its power, and the center's powers are much wider than that of the states, any state legislation would be vulnerable on grounds of legislative competence.
So
It would
actually,
be much better for the central government to step in.
Yeah, let me in fact also refer to another order from the same High Court. I think Madras High Court in 2020 actually did come out and say that there is a regulatory body which is necessary to regulate online sports. And obviously that was a broader order where they said a regulator is needed to curb any kind of illegal activities and encourage investment in the sector. I think, Arjun and his company, Mobius, would also want something like that. And maybe that's something that the center needs to look at. I am completely out of time on this conversation. So thank you to all four of you for joining us with your insights as we actually looked at various aspects of it. I think the broader consensus is that we need a set of regulations. Perhaps it's not something that will come in from a state government. But currently, different states have different versions and different kinds of laws. The Madras High Court judgment actually could become a trigger for many of these petitioners to maybe go in other states also and challenge similar bans in states like Telangana, where they don't allow this online gaming / gambling. Online gaming with stakes involved. That's essentially what the court was referring to, where there's money involved and there is that element of addiction coming in, the element of gambling that comes in. But at the end of the day, the Madras High Court has said this blanket ban is of no help to anybody, and you can't have such a blanket ban on anybody's occupation or even trade. Thank you for joining us on this conversation.